Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Estee Lauder Companies, ticker symbol EL. They're a giant in the beauty industry, but their latest earnings report is, well,
Not pretty.
yeah, not pretty at all, really.
It's interesting though, right? You have this company, Estee Lauder, with its long history and its reputation, and now they're facing some real problems.
And their Q2 2025 report, well, let's just say it doesn't exactly paint a flattering picture.
No, it really doesn't. It's pretty unflattering.
We're talking about a 6% drop in net sales. They ended up at $4 billion for the quarter, and they actually reported a net loss of $590 million.
Yeah, that loss is huge. It's a 289% decrease compared to their Q2 2024 profit.
So what's going on here? What's causing this?
Right, what's the reason for this meltdown? Is it just Estee Lauder, or is this a sign of bigger problems for the whole beauty industry?
Okay, let's break this down. Revenue definitely took a hit, going from $4,279 million in Q2 2024
Oh.
down to $4 million in 2025.
Yeah, that's a big drop.
So clearly something needs to change, and that's where their new strategy comes in, Beauty Reimagined. But is this just, a fancy name, a marketing ploy, or is there really something to it?
Well, Beauty Reimagined is definitely more than just a slogan. It really is a complete overhaul of the company. They're aiming to get back on track, get that sustainable growth, and achieve those double-digit operating margins again.
Okay, so it sounds like they have big goals.
Yeah, but getting there in this market, that's going to be tough, right? That's why they're also rolling out some pretty drastic measures. They've even got this massive restructuring program in place.
This restructuring, this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
They're talking about cutting potentially 5,800 to 7,000 jobs.
Wow.
That's a huge impact, not just on their bottom line, but on thousands of employees.
Yeah.
It makes you think, is this, I don't know, a sign of desperation, or is it a calculated move to survive in the long term?
It's a bold move for sure, and I think it shows that they know, that Estee Lauder knows they need to make some big changes to keep up with the market. It's a gamble, no doubt, but one they seem to think is necessary. And speaking of risks, there's also that talcum powder litigation settlement, right? That ended up costing them $159 million.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, is this just a one-time thing, or is it, a sign of more legal trouble down the road?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's definitely something that could have big consequences for the company down the line. Legal battles can be costly financially and for their reputation too. But let's change gears a bit and see what the market is saying. As of February 5th, 2025, Estee Lauder stock is trading at $69.48.
That's a pretty big drop from its 52-week high of $161. And right now it's trading well below both its short and long-term moving averages. That definitely points to a downtrend. Now, for anyone who's not familiar with moving averages, basically they help us see the trend direction more clearly by smoothing out all the price fluctuations. And in this case, like I said, the trend is definitely pointing down.
So not exactly a vote of confidence from the market.
Huh?
But does that mean Estee Lauder is done? Or could there be, a silver lining here for investors?
Well, that's where things get interesting. The stock has dropped so much, so quickly, that it might actually be entering what we call oversold territory. Basically, what that means is that the selling has been so strong, so intense, that the price might have fallen more than the company's fundamentals would suggest.
So it could be a good buying opportunity then.
Exactly, for anyone brave enough to go against the trend. Yeah, it's like, think of it like a department store having a huge clearance sale. The products are still good, but the prices are way down. So it creates this opportunity, for bargain hunters. It's that classic high risk, high reward situation.
Okay, I like that analogy. But we need to look beyond just the charts.
Yeah.
What are the experts saying? What are the analysts saying about Estee Lauder?
Right, good point. Well, the general consensus among analysts is a buy rating, and they've got a median price target of $168.63.
Wow.
That's a potential upside of, get this, over 141% from the current price.
That's a huge potential gain.
It is, but we have to remember, analyst opinions are just one piece of the puzzle. They don't have crystal balls. They can't predict the future for sure. And those restructuring efforts, those are still ongoing. Plus, there's the general uncertainty in the market right now. Those are all considerable risks.
So for our listeners who are thinking about, adding EL to their portfolios, what's the takeaway here?
Well, Estee Lauder is at a crossroads right now. They're a giant in the beauty industry, but they're facing some big challenges. They're making some bold moves to adapt. But Whether those moves will be enough to bring back their former glory, that remains to be seen.
It sounds like it could go either way.
It really could.
It's a gamble, a high-risk, high-reward situation. But hey, isn't that the case with most investments?
Yeah, you got that right.
The question is this a risk worth taking? What do you think?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If you're looking for a guaranteed win, then Estee Lauder is probably not the right choice right now. But if you believe in their beauty reimagined strategy, and if you think they can make it through these tough times, well, there could be a big payoff at the end.
So to sum it all up for our listeners tuning in to Investing Talk podcast today, Estee Lauder, ticker symbol EL, is facing some serious challenges, no doubt. But they also have this long history of success and this amazing portfolio of brands. They're making some big changes to adapt, to keep up with the changing beauty landscape. It'll be interesting to see if those changes pay off.
Absolutely. And definitely keep a close eye on their progress with Beauty Reimagined. If they can execute it well, it might just be their ticket back to the top.
And there you have it, folks. Our look at Estee Lauder. As always, we encourage you to do your own research before making any investment decisions. What are your thoughts on EL's future? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Investing Talk podcast and share this episode with your friends. We'll see you next time for another exciting look at the world of finance.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's definitely something that could have big consequences for the company down the line. I mean, legal battles can be costly financially and for their reputation too. But let's change gears a bit and see what the market is saying. As of February 5th, 2025, Estee Lauder stock is trading at $69.48.
Yeah, that's down a lot from its 52-week high of $161. And it's currently trading below both its short-term and long-term moving averages. So that kind of paints a picture of a downtrend. For those who might not know, moving averages, they essentially smooth out the price fluctuations, right? So it gives us a clearer picture of which way the trend is going, the direction. And in this case, yeah, it's definitely pointing downwards.
So not exactly a great sign from the market then. But does this mean, is it time to just give up on Estee Lauder completely? Or could there be, a silver lining here? Could there be something good for investors?
Well, here's where things get a little more interesting. Because the stock has dropped so much, so fast, it might actually be getting into what we call oversold territory. And that basically means that there's been so much selling pressure, so intense, that the stock price might have actually fallen further than what its fundamentals would suggest.
So it could be a good time to buy then for some people.
Yeah, exactly, potentially. For anyone who's brave enough to go against the current trend, think of it like this. Imagine a department store, and they're having a huge clearance sale. All the products are still good, right? The prices are slashed. So it creates this opportunity, for people who are looking for a bargain. It's that classic high-risk, high-reward scenario.
Okay, yeah, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But we need to look at more than just the charts and the price, right?
Okay.
What are the experts saying? What do the analysts think about Estee Lauder?
Right. Yeah, that's important too. Well, the consensus among analysts is a buy rating, and they have a median price target of $168.63.
Wow, that's a big jump.
It is. It's a potential upside of, get this, over 141% from where the price is now.
Wow, that's a huge potential gain.
It is. But we have to remember, analysts' opinions, they're just one piece of the puzzle. They don't have a crystal ball. And all those restructuring efforts that we talked about, those are still going on. And then you've got the overall uncertainty in the market, right? All of that adds up to some pretty big risks.
So for our listeners, who might be thinking about adding EL to their portfolios, what's the bottom line here? What should they take away?
Well, Estee Lauder, they're kind of at a crossroads right now. They're this huge company in the beauty world, but they're also facing some pretty big challenges, and they're making these big moves to try and adapt, like we talked about. But whether it'll be enough to get them back to where they were, that's still a big question mark.
So it sounds like Estee Lauder is a bit of a gamble at this point. High risk, but maybe high reward too, right?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
But isn't that kind of how it is with a lot of investment?
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
It's all about figuring out, if the risk is worth it.
Exactly.
So what do you think? In this case with Estee Lauder, is it is it a risk worth taking?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? I mean, if you're someone who's looking for a sure thing, a guaranteed win, then Estee Lauder's probably not the best choice right now. But if you're someone who really believes in this beauty reimagined strategy of theirs, and you think they can pull through all this, weather the storm, so to speak, then yeah, there could be a pretty big payoff down the line.
Okay, so to wrap things up for our listeners tuning in to Investing Talk podcast today, Estee Lauder, ticker symbol EL, is facing some serious challenges, that's for sure. But we also can't forget, their history, their track record. They've been successful for a long time, and they have this amazing portfolio of brands. And now they're making these changes to adapt, to keep up with the changing beauty industry. It'll be very interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, it'll definitely be something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
And for anyone listening, definitely keep an eye on their progress with this beauty reimagined thing. I mean, if they can execute it well, if they can make it work, it really might be their ticket back to the top of the beauty world.